Welcome back. I'm MTG Joe, and today we're going to try out a couple budget decks in a new series that I'm working on. So I already put together budget mono black. I'm going to try to keep the costs even lower now and pretty much restrict it to commons and uncommons, except for the lands. The lands, they're quite good, so we want to keep those as well. It just helps with consistency. So for the first deck we're going to be playing, it's Budget Merfolk. So this deck, the nice thing is a lot of the good pieces in this deck are common and uncommon. So if you are building like the Ralph Levy Mythic Championship deck, a lot of these can be transferred over afterwards. So to run through the deck really quick, we have 4 of Mist-Cloaked Herald, an unblockable 1/1 that you see in mono blue. 4 Jade Bearers, which is basically a 1/1 that could put a 1/1 counter on another Merfolk. Kumena Speakers, basically a 1 mana 2/2 if we have another Merfolk or an island. 3 Dive Downs as protection spells. 3 Spell Pierce to tempo our opponent and protect against, say, a board wipe. Uh, 4 River Sneaks, which is another unblockable Merfolk that gets pumped with more Merfolk. 4 Silvergill Adepts that allows us to keep drawing cards. 4 Tricksters is combo tricks, and then these are used in mono blue as well. 4 Merfolk Mistbinder, which makes our creatures larger. 3 Blink of an Eye as a tempo card. It can help us draw cards or just get rid of blockers. And then we're trying out 2 Deeproot Waters. May make sense to go up to more in the deck. It helps us create a wider amount of creatures and swarm. But I want to try out 2 first. And then the mana base is 21 lands, missing a Hinterland Harbor, but you'd be ideally playing 4 of each of these, and then the rest is just kind of split. We're more focused blue, so we're going to be playing the blue. The one card in particular, if you do have them, I think one comes in the welcome deck anyways, is Kumena. This card is very, very good in Merfolk. It helps you draw more cards, it helps you make the team bigger, and it's a good blocker on its own. In the actual Mythic Championship deck, they're playing 4 of Kumena. So this is something to consider adding in if you already have one, and the more you have, the better it is in the deck. The only other cards that I think you would be missing is... so Herald of the Secret Streams doesn't really get played. Seafloor Oracle could, but it's not the greatest. It's Deeproot Elite. So this card is a 2 mana 1/1. Whenever another Merfolk enters the battlefield, you can put 1/1 counters on it, another creature. So basically what you do is you swarm with a lot of Merfolks, and then you either make your Mist-Cloaked Herald or your River Sneak really large, and then they're unblockable. So those are things you can add in the future. I'll link to the Mythic Championship deck in the comments below of the video so you can see what it'll eventually build towards. So we'll give it a shot. We're just going to play regular ranked to see how it goes. If you haven't done so already and you're looking for a way to support the channel, hitting the subscribe button in the bottom right costs you absolutely nothing, and it's a great way to help support me and the channel's growth and to allow me to keep putting out more and more videos. Alrighty. So usually with these decks you want 1 or 2 early threats and then some disruption. So sounds pretty good. Kumena on 1. And then depending what they're showing, white generally won't have a lot. Okay, so this looks like some sort of life gain deck. So here I think we need to be as aggressive as possible. If they are going to be gaining life, we need to smash. Next turn we can miss... actually, we're short of mana to be able to do both. So no blocks here. Each opponent discards 2 cards. Okay. So we'll just attack in with both. So we could respond to if they have a life gain trigger. Here I'm just gonna tap down the Pride Mate. Actually, should have made them attack first. Probably would have made more sense. Here. So probably want to dive down, protect the Mistbinder. This will get fairly large, but our board's pretty big on its own. Another Merfolk Mistbinder would be good off the top. No blocks here. Call to the Feast is pretty good for them. So here... we're just gonna attack in with one. Just play out the Deeproot Waters. We'll just try to swarm the board that way. So Resplendent Angel's good. They are going to be able to trigger. So we'll just double block here. So I think this one's gotten a little out of hand for us. Now that they have the flyers in the air. We can tap down the Angel, but they have enough. So they got us this game. The mistake was probably flashing in by not letting them attack first with the Pride Mate. We could have blocked. Forgot I got the pump to be a 3/3, so we couldn't eat in the Pride Mage there. Also, if we would have drawn a fourth land, it would have allowed us a couple turns to double spell. Yep, we'll keep this hand. So Merfolk in general is usually pretty weak to flyers. I don't imagine it having that good of a matchup against mono blue unless you go wide. I feel like for mono blue we're going to need 4 Deeproot Waters just to spam them that way. If you are going to be playing this as a best of 3 deck, you're going to want Crushing Canopies in the sideboard. Probably some negates. Okay, so likely not a gates deck. They usually don't play black. So this is probably just for budget constraints. Might be... So the Merfolk here is good because it makes us a 3-power creature. This does make dive down a little awkward. We'll be paying an extra mana. Our hand's pretty replaceable at this point. Dive down's the best card in it, just in terms of protecting the Mistbinder. So So this looks like a not fully pieced out Esper hero deck. Yeah, so they take the dive down. These decks will usually play Mortify. Unlikely to play Kaya's Wrath. So I'm actually going to play the Silvergill out here. We want to try to draw a land. Doesn't really help. So the best would have been if we had a dual source to play the Kumena out that turn as well. So here we can keep applying pressure, which I think I like to do. So that makes Spell Pierce come on again. So we can either play down a Sneak. Okay, so they have the Chupacabra. See if they attack at all. Okay, so here we want to attack. So next turn I want to blink the Deputy of Detention. And if we can, play the River Sneak. So we need to decide if we want to do this and draw a card or just play out the River Sneak. I think we just play out River Sneak. Attack with both, see if they want to trade. So we're actually going to do this to keep Kumena alive. So on their turn they need to decide if they want to get rid of the Mistbinder or the two Kumena speakers. So we can just keep chipping in damage. So there's actually, there's the pump spell that puts 2/1/1 counters on Merfolks you control. I think that's something we should probably put in the deck. Maybe instead of some number of Blink of the Eyes. So Vraska's, Spell Pierce the Vraska's Contempt. This keeps our life a bit higher. So they're dead if we draw a Merfolk because we have unblockable. They're dead if we have a blink of an eye. They need to get rid of the River Sneak here. Okay, so they got the Chupacabra. That's a good draw for them. Pass the turn here. We're flooding out a bit. They take our Spell Pierce. And think it's a little too late for us. They're going to start being able to play our cards from us. So these are examples of areas where Kumena would be good, allowing you to draw additional cards when we had like a larger board, or just pumping up the team. Binder's not bad here. They have to block. Trickster's weird out of an Esper hero deck. Oh, this is probably from our deck. So they beat us with our own card there. Still have a few live draws. Another thief is bad for us. Alright, so they got this one. We got him to 2. We got most of the way there. I'm gonna make that one little change and see if it helps the deck. It is... what's it called? This River Herald's Boon, so it can make our creatures a bit larger. Go down to 2 spell dive downs. Let's try it out like that. The one card that we might need to play that's just a little off theme in terms of Merfolk is Crawl Harpooner. It's the 2 mana 3/2 with that fights a flyer when it comes in. With us just being weak to the flyers, we saw that game how we really didn't have an answer. So this hand's good. We Mist-Cloak, and then we can double Jade Bearer. So we'll shock ourselves in on turn 1. Hand's a little weak to mono red, which, of course, it's mono red. Okay, the white there is not as bad. They're less likely to have shock. Okay, so they Justice Strike here. It's a bit of an aggressive line on their part. So Justice Strike tells me that this deck is a little bit more controlling. So it might be Jeskai, it might be some sort of red-white Angels deck. So I'm putting the counter on the Jade Bearer as opposed to the Mistbinder. The Mistbinder they already want to kill. So we just need some more action. Need to be mindful. Relentless Raptor. So I'm going to force them. They're going to have to trade anyways. kind of gross. Playing some really random cards. No blocks. Just play out the land. Yeah, so without Kumena, I don't think this deck is as good. It's a decent start. If we can draw... Okay, Jade Bearer is pretty good there. Pumps up our sneak. This having vigilance is a little awkward. I'm gonna take one more attack from the Relentless Raptor, and then next turn I might consider double blocking it depending what they play out. Because they're dealing 5 here, so we'd drop to 5, we can get them to 8. Or they just... So they get an additional combat. So unfortunately we have to block. Test. They got us. Some weird decks. Aren't really cards you play around normally. We'll give it one more. See how it goes. I actually think like the black-white life gain budget deck that we'll put together next will be a bit more viable. Mist-Cloak into Silvergill. So we'll see what they come out with. This might be vampires. Okay, so they're a life gain deck, so I'm going to want to go more aggressive. I think just to be mana efficient, because next turn we can play 2 spells. Okay, so Deeproot Waters is pretty good here. We'll play that out next turn, and then we'll just start spamming the board. So we can likely use something like this as removal even in like a black-white life gain deck. But I think Mortify is just better. So here we'll reveal the Jade Bearer. Reveal the Jade Bearer. Sweet. So next turn we can actually Jade Bearer, Mistbinder, Mistbinder. So then they have to use 3 to block any of our Silvergills. Not the best, but it's a removal that's not on our... So here, I'm going to play it out like this. we'll do the other Mistbinder next turn. That way I can get all the spells out. Should have probably put it on the River Sneak. So they got a double block to kill anything. But that's a lot of power. And this is really like the strategy of how you play Merfolk. You just swarm the board. Like we're playing the Spell Pierce to avoid trying to get board wiped. And we call this the you figure out the math. So let's see. So they block, 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 block. So they gain 3, they go up to 12. They take 4, 7, 10. Oh, or they just concede. That works. And that's why you let them do the math. So was able to get at least one game for you to see how the deck plays out in its full entirety. There are options to make this deck a lot more competitive. Those 2 cards I showed you, Kumena and the green rare. I'll link the full competitive deck list in the link itself. That way if you want to work towards something like that, or if you have some of the spare cards, you can start tweaking as you go along. But thanks for watching. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. It's a great way for you for free to support the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great one.